The thunder cracked like a gunshot outside my Brooklyn window, jolting me awake in the dead of night. But it was nothing compared to the earthquake of Alex's body sliding under my sheets. His girlfriend Sarah's laughter still echoed in my ears from the party hours earlier. A cruel reminder of the life he was supposed to live. Yet here he was drunk, desperate, his calloused hand gripping my arm like I was his only anchor in a sinking world. "Hunter," he murmured, voice cracking with a vulnerability I'd never heard. "Don't let me go back to pretending." I froze, heart slamming against my ribs, the air thick with the scent of whiskey and rain-soaked clothes. Alex and I had been inseparable since freshman year at NYU kids from middle-class suburbs. Him the golden boy with the easy grin and the girls lining up. Me the quiet artist sketching our adventures in hidden notebooks. Burying my crush deeper with every shared beer and late-night confession that never crossed the line. We'd built a brotherhood on late shifts at the campus coffee shop. Road trips upstate where we'd blast Springsteen and debate everything from politics to the meaning of life. Always careful to keep the unspoken safe. But that night, as the storm raged on, Alex's eyes, those piercing blue ones that had haunted my dreams, locked onto mine. Stripped bare of the straight-laced facade he'd worn like armor. He wasn't the Alex who'd dated Sarah for 2 years. The one who'd proposed a double date with her roommate just last week. This was the Alex who'd whispered doubts in the dark during our camping trips. The one who'd hugged me a beat too long after his parents' divorce left him shattered. And in that moment, as his forehead pressed against my shoulder, trembling with unspoken terror, I realized our world was fracturing and maybe, just maybe, rebuilding. The morning after dawned gray and unforgiving, sunlight slicing through the blinds like accusations. I lay there, staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out my own fractured heart, while Alex stirred beside me, his arms slung possessively over my waist. Panic hit him, first eyes widening as fragments of the night pieced together, his face draining of color. "Shit. Hunter. What did I?" He bolted upright, sheets tangling around his legs, scrambling for his jeans crumpled on the floor. I wanted to pull him back, to say it was okay, that the way he'd clung to me felt like salvation. But words stuck like thorns in my throat. Instead, I sat up slowly, my voice steady despite the ache. "You climbed into my bed. Alex, you said you couldn't pretend anymore." He froze, back to me, shoulders heaving. The silence stretched, heavy with the weight of a friendship teetering on the edge of something more. When he finally turned, his eyes were red-rimmed. Not from hangover, but from the war inside him, a straight guy who'd just crossed a line he didn't know existed. "We didn't talk about it that day." He mumbled apologies, blamed the booze, and fled to Sarah's place across the river in Jersey, leaving me to replay every second in my tiny studio apartment. The walls, plastered with my charcoal sketches of us lying on the fire escape. Arms around each other at graduation suddenly felt like witnesses to a crime. I'd loved him quietly for years, a secret etched into the margins of my life. Ever since that first week of college when he defended me from a frat boy slur with a punch that split his knuckle. Alex, the straight arrow from Ohio suburbs, with his all-American football build and dreams of coaching high school teams, had become my safe harbor in a city that chewed up dreamers like me. But love like mine was a shadow, always one step behind, content with stolen glances and the warmth of his shoulder against mine during movie marathons. Until now. That night had cracked open the door, and the light spilling through terrified us both. Days blurred into a tense standoff. Texts from him were clipped, "Hey, man, about the other night. Rain check on hanging." While Sarah's Instagram stories showed them at cozy diners, her head on his shoulder, captions dripping with heart emojis. I threw myself into my graphic design gigs, fingers flying over the keyboard to drown out the what-ifs. But every notification jolted me. One evening, as autumn leaves turned the East River bridges to fire. He showed up at my door unannounced, pizza box in hand like an olive branch. "I can't stop thinking about it," he said, voice low as we sat on the fire escape. The city hummed below us, a distant roar. Rain from that storm still lingered in puddles, mirroring the mess we'd made. He told me about the doubts creeping in since college kisses with girls that felt scripted. The pressure from his dad to man up after the divorce. "Sarah's great. Hunter. She's safe. But you get me. Like, really get me." His hand brushed mine. Accidental at first, then lingering. And in that electric pause, I saw the boy he'd been before the labels. Before the world demanded he choose sides. We didn't kiss that night, but the air between us hummed with possibility. A fragile thread pulling us closer. Over the next weeks, our routines shifted. Subtle late night runs in Prospect Park where he'd vent about Sarah's expectations. The way she talked marriage like a checklist while he stared at the skyline wondering who he even was. I'd share my own scars, coming out to my mom in high school. Her quiet acceptance over apple pie in our Ohio kitchen. The rejection from old friends who called it a phase. "You're brave," he'd say, awe in his voice, and I'd laugh it off. But inside, it mended something broken. One crisp October evening, after a gallery opening where my illustrations hung proud, he pulled me into a hug that lasted too long. His breath warm against my ear. "I'm scared. Hunt. What if this ruins everything?" The vulnerability in his eyes, the same eyes that had lit up during our first shared secret tore at me. "Then we rebuild," I whispered. And for the first time, he didn't pull away. Winter crept in like a thief, blanketing Brooklyn in snow that muffled the chaos but amplified the one brewing inside Alex. Sarah noticed the distance first, the canceled dates, the distracted texts, and confronted him over holiday lights in Washington Square Park. I got the call at midnight, his voice breaking through sobs. "She knows something's wrong. God. Hunter." I told her I needed space. He showed up at my place again, this time with a duffel bag, claiming it was temporary. We fell into a rhythm, mornings brewing coffee while he paced, afternoons sketching side by side as he journaled fragments of confusion. He'd talk about the dreams that woke him, sweating hands on his skin that weren't Sarah's, faces blurring into mine. I'd listen, heart swelling with a mix of hope and fear, knowing this awakening could shatter him. One night, as flurries danced outside, he traced the lines of my sketchbook hand. Tentative. "I've always felt this pull toward you. Thought it was just bromance. But it's more." The confession hung there, raw and real. And when our lips finally met, soft, searching, born of years unspoken, it wasn't fireworks, but a quiet homecoming. Two souls recognizing each other after a long exile. But freedom came with chains. Alex's family back in Ohio called daily, his mom sensing the shift in his voice, his dad grumbling about wasting time with that artsy friend. Sarah's texts turned venomous. "Who is it?" "Alex. Some slut from the bar." Forcing him to ghost her. Each silence a knife twist. I watched him unravel, the straight facade crumbling into panic attacks that left him curled on my couch, whispering, "What if I'm broken?" My own doubts surfaced too, the fear that he'd wake up one day and choose the easier path, leaving me to pick up the pieces of a heart I'd guarded so fiercely. Yet in those fragile moments, we'd walk the snowy streets hand in hidden hand, stealing kisses in alley shadows, building a world where labels dissolved into just us. Spring thaw brought tentative steps, a quiet dinner at a queer-friendly spot in the village, where he held my hand under the table, eyes wide at the couples, unafraid. "This could be real," he said, voice laced with wonder. And I believed him because love like ours wasn't a phase. It was a revelation. As cherry blossoms bloomed along the Hudson, Alex's transformation deepened. But so did the storms. He quit his entry-level coaching job, the one that had him molding kids into real men, and enrolled in night classes for counseling. Ironic. He joked, "Therapy for the therapist in training." I'd cheer him on. But the nights he slipped away to call Sarah, begging forgiveness without admitting the truth, gutted me. I still care about her. He'd confess, guilt etching lines on his face. She deserves better than my lies. One humid June afternoon, she cornered him at a mutual friend's barbecue, tears streaming as she pieced it together. "It's Hunter, isn't it? The way you light up around him." The fight spilled into the street. Words like shrapnel, freak. She spat. "You're throwing us away for what?" And Alex came home bruised not just in body but soul, collapsing into my arms with a sob that echoed our shared fragility. We made love that night, not in passion's rush, but in healing's tender rhythm, bodies and hearts sinking like puzzle pieces long lost. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he traced my scars from old heartbreaks, vowing, "I'm all in, Hunt. No more hiding." Yet the world conspired against our fragile peace. Summer heat waves mirrored the boiling tensions. Alex's dad flew in for a surprise visit, his face thunderous over steak dinners where he probed, "What's this phase with your buddy? Get your head straight, son." The argument exploded in my living room, fists clenched, voices rising, ending with Alex shouting, "Dad, I'm gay, and Hunter's the best thing that's ever happened to me." The door slammed, silence deafening, and in the aftermath, Alex wept like a child, the boy who'd idolized his father now adrift. I held him through it, whispering stories of my own losses, how love's worth the wreckage. We rebuilt slowly, therapy sessions where he unpacked the toxic masculinity drilled into him, pride marches where he marched hand in hand with me, rainbow flag fluttering like a promise. But doubt lingered, texts from old teammates calling him traitor. Sarah's final email, a gut punch of betrayal. "You were my everything, and you chose him." Each blow tested us. But in the quiet evenings, sketching sunsets from my fire escape, we'd reaffirm, this wasn't impulse. It was destiny unfolding. Fall returned with a vengeance, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle memories as Alex's growth accelerated. He landed a job at a youth center, counseling LGBTQ+ teens with an empathy born of his own trenches. His laughter freer now, unburdened. We'd host game nights with my queer found family, his initial awkwardness melting into easy banter. But the undercurrent of fear never fully ebbed. One crisp November night, during a blackout that plunged the city into stars, he proposed not with rings, but with a simple band from his pocket, engraved with our initials. "Marry me, Hunter. Not today, but when the world's ready." Tears blurred my yes, a vow forged in darkness, illuminating our path. Yet trials persisted, a homophobic slur scrawled on his car at work, whispers at family Thanksgiving where his sister alone hugged him tight, whispering support. Through it all, our love deepened, conversations stretching till dawn about fatherhood dreams, adopting kids who'd feel seen like we hadn't. Alex's straight past wasn't erased. It was the soil from which his truth bloomed, richer for the struggle. Winter's grip loosened into a hopeful spring. But fate tested our roots one final time. Alex's dad, after months of radio silence, reached out a terse email inviting him home for a talk. "Come alone," it read, and dread coiled in my gut. He went, steeling himself for rejection, returning 2 days later with hollow eyes and a story that shattered me. His father, red-faced and unyielding, had disowned him on the spot. Bible verses hurled like weapons. "You're no son of mine." Alex drove through the night, crashing into my arms at dawn, broken but unbroken. We mourned together, funeral for the family we lost, then rose, channeling pain into purpose. He wrote letters to those teens, sharing his story anonymously, while I illustrated a children's book on self-acceptance, dedicating it to him. Summer swelled with triumphs, Sarah's unexpected olive branch, a coffee meet where she admitted her own fluidity, forgiving not for us, but for her peace. And in July's heat, under fireworks over the East River, Alex knelt again, this time with rings. Forever. Hunt. Years folded like pages in our shared journal. By our 5th anniversary, in a quiet ceremony on that same fire escape, surrounded by chosen family, his sister beaming, my mom toasting with pride, we exchanged vows that echoed our journey, from hidden crushes to open hearts. Alex, once the straight friend who'd shaken my world by mere proximity, now stood as my husband, his blue eyes steady with the wisdom of trials endured. We'd fostered 2 boys since, teaching them love's boundless shapes, watching Alex coach their soccer games with a gentleness that healed his father's wounds. Life in Brooklyn hummed on, storms still came. Doubts whispered, but we'd learned. True love isn't the absence of chaos. It's the courage to dance in it. That night, he climbed into my bed. It wasn't the end of pretending. It was the beginning of becoming. And in each other's arms, we'd found not just each other, but ourselves whole, seen, eternally shook. The ceremony's echoes lingered like the scent of magnolias we'd strewn across the fire escape. But real life crashed back the next morning with a phone call that yanked us from our honeymoon haze. Alex's sister, Emily, voice trembling over the line from Ohio, "Dad's had a stroke. It's bad. Alex, he asked for you." The words hung, a ghost from the past we'd buried under rainbows and rings. But ghosts have a way of rising. Alex's face paled, fork midway to his mouth over our celebratory pancakes. And I saw the boy he'd been eager for approval, starved for it, flicker back to life. "We have to go?" he said. Not a question. And I nodded, packing bags while he stared at old photos, fingers tracing the edges of a family we'd both lost pieces of. Driving the turnpike west, windshield wipers battling a sudden squall. We talked in circles. What if he rejects you again? What if forgiveness isn't on the table? Alex's hand gripped mine over the console, knuckles white. I forgave him years ago. Hunt. For me. But this is about closing the circle. The hospital in Columbus smelled of antiseptic and regret. Fluorescent lights buzzing like accusations as we navigated sterile halls. Emily met us in the waiting room, her hug fierce, eyes puffy from vigil. "He's lucid, but weak. Doc says it's touch and go." Alex nodded, steeling himself. And when we entered the room, curtains drawn against the afternoon glare, his father lay diminished, tubes snaking like accusations. The man who'd once loomed larger than life, now fragile as paper. "Son," he rasped, eyes locking on Alex's, and the room thickened with unsaid words. I hung back, heart pounding, giving them space as Alex pulled up a chair, voice steady. "Hey, Dad, we're here." What followed wasn't a movie Miraclino tearful confessions. No instant absolution, but a halting dialogue. Years compressed into hours. His father admitted the fear, the church-bred bigotry that had armored his heart. Voice cracking on apologies that tasted like ash. "I was wrong. About you. About love." Alex wept then, not in anger, but release. And when he glanced back at me, nodding me forward, I stepped into the light, hand in his. "This is Hunter, my husband." The old man's gaze softened, a nod faint but real. "Take care of him, son. He's a good one." We stayed a week, bridging chasms with quiet visits, Emily cooking meals that evoked childhood Sundays. Stories shared over lukewarm coffee about the man his father had been before bitterness took root. Alex's growth shone, no demands for perfection, just presence, guiding conversations with the empathy he'd honed counseling kids. One evening, as monitors beeped softly, his dad gripped Alex's hand. "Proud of you, boy, for being brave." The words landed like rain on parched earth. And driving east the next dawn, his father stabilizing. A tentative truce in place. Alex exhaled a breath he'd held for decades. "It's not fixed," he said, head on my shoulder as I drove. But it started. Back in Brooklyn. Summer's end brought reflection. We volunteered at the youth center together. Alex sharing his reconciliation story in group sessions. Eyes alight with purpose. "Healing isn't linear," he'd say, "but it's worth every step." Our boys, now toddlers with his blonde curls and my hazel mischief, toddled through our apartment, oblivious to the legacies we rewrote. Nights, tangled in bed, we'd whisper gratitudes for the stroke that forced the reckoning, for love that bent but never broke. Autumn painted the parks in golds and crimsons, a canvas for new beginnings. But shadows lingered in unexpected corners. At the center, a teen named Jordan, 17. Fresh out, eyes haunted like Alex's once were, lashed onto him. Sessions stretching long as Jordan unpacked family fallout mirroring our own. Alex poured in, late nights prepping resources, and I watched with quiet pride, sketching him mid-conversation, passion etching his features. But one rainy Tuesday, Jordan didn't show. News came via frantic call, suicide attempt, hospital bound. Alex blamed himself, pacing our kitchen till dawn, voice hoarse. I should have seen it. Pushed harder. I pulled him close, reminding him of his limits, the power in simply showing up. We visited Jordan together. Alex's hand steady on the boy's shoulder as he shared his rock-bottom night the bed climb. The doubts. The dawn of truth. "You're not alone," he said. And Jordan's nod, small but fierce, echoed our victories. It reignited something in Alex. He pitched a workshop series on family reconciliation, drawing crowds from across the boroughs. His voice a beacon for the lost. Yet personal tides ebbed too. My illustrations gained traction. Iona Gallery solo show looming. Deadlines pressing like weights. Sketches piled up. Sleep evaded. And irritability crept in, snapping at Alex over trivials like forgotten groceries. One crisp November eve, after a critique that gutted my confidence, I lashed out, "You get it easy now, Mr. Hero Counselor. Try creating from nothing." Words venomous, born of exhaustion. He recoiled, hurt flashing, then softened, pulling me to the couch. "Hunt, we're a team. Lean on me." We talked till midnight, unpacking my imposter fears, the orphan ache of chasing validation in a world that still side-eyed queer artists. His forgiveness was a balm, and an apology's wake. We recommitted, date nights at hole-in-the-wall jazz clubs, where he'd sway with me under dim lights. World fading. Winter holidays approached, our first as husbands with kids, and we hosted a mishmash feast, Emily flying in, my mom video calling from Ohio, toasts to mended bridges. As snow fell soft outside, Alex raised his glass, to us Haken, stirred, and standing tall. Spring unfurled with promise. Cherry trees a pink riot along the waterfront. But life's undercurrents pulled at our seams. The boy's adoption anniversary hit, a milestone laced with joy and ghosts, birth parents' stories we'd pieced from files. Echoes of loss we mirrored. Alex dove deeper into fatherhood books, overanalyzing every milestone, while I captured it all in a family album. Pages thick with laughter and scraped knees. One balmy May weekend, we escaped to the Catskills cabin we'd honeymooned in. Kids with Emily, reclaiming solitude. Trails wound through green cathedrals, and on a ridge overlooking valleys. Alex turned to me, eyes misting. "That night, climbing into your bed, it saved me. You saved me." I kissed him slow, wind whispering approvals. And in that embrace, time folded past pains transmuted to present grace. Back home, challenges evolved, school runs clashing with his workshops. My show prep swallowing evenings. But we adapted, carving rituals like Sunday sketches where the boys helped. Crayons flying wild. Summer's zenith brought a curveball, an offer for Alex to speak at a national conference in San Francisco. A queer youth summit that could catapult his work. Excitement warred with logistics travel with toddlers. I encouraged. But envy nipped, my art world still niche. Gigs sporadic. Go, I said, masking the sting. And he did, returning sun-kissed and buzzing. Tales of connections made. Lives touched. But over airport coffee, he confessed doubts, felt like an imposter. The straight guy turned gay savior. We dissected it on the subway home, affirming his authenticity, the journey's validity. Fall deepened our roots, my show opened to acclaim. Alex's arm around me amid applause. Pride swelling mutual. As leaves turned, we reflected on 8 years from that stormy bed to this tapestry of trials and triumphs. Love, not a destination, but a daily choice. Profound in its persistence. Winter wrapped Brooklyn in its familiar hush. But this season carried a sharper edge. A letter from Alex's dad. Post-stroke. Scrawled in shaky script. Come home for Christmas. Bring the family. The invitation landed like fragile glass. Beautiful, but breakable. And Alex's eyes, reading it aloud over morning coffee, brimmed with cautious hope. He means you and the boys. Hunt. Us. We'd built walls since the disownment. Visit sparse. But therapy had taught us grace's power. We packed the Volvo with gifts and gingerbread dough. The drive a blur of kid songs and what-ifs. Ohio welcomed with fresh snow. His childhood home aglow. And as we pulled up, his dad waited on the porch, cane in hand. Face lined but open. Hugs were awkward at first. The boys' energy breaking ice. But dinner unfolded with stories. Laughter tentative then free. Grandpa, our eldest, piped, climbing his lap, and tears traced the old man's cheeks. Alex and I exchanged glances, hands linking under the tablia, silent hallelujah for bridges rebuilt. Yet reconciliation's path twisted. Emily pulled me aside post-feast, whispering of their dad's quiet therapy sessions. Admissions of past sins to a pastor who'd evolved with the times. He's trying. Hunter. For real. Nights. Alex and his father talked late by the fire, football tales morphing to regrets. The stroke's clarity stripping pretenses. One eve, as kids slept upstairs, his dad clasped Alex's shoulder. I see it now, the love you two have. It's stronger than I ever knew. Alex's nod was thick-throated. And later, in the guest room, he held me fierce. This heals something deep. Hunt. Return to the city brought glow, family photos framed. A new tradition seeded. Spring bloomed buoyant. The boys starting preschool. Alex balancing panels with playdates. Me landing a book deal for my self-acceptance tales. But Joy's shadow Lumita diagnosis for Emily. Early breast cancer. Ripping the wind from us. Alex flew back weekly. Coordinating care. His counselor's hard in overdrive. While I managed home front. Fears bubbling unspoken. We leaned hard into each other. Date nights swapped for quiet holds. My sketches capturing Emily's fierce spirit, bald head under hats. Eyes unbowed. Summer trials tested, treatments draining her. Alex's exhaustion fraying edges. Arguments flaring over his absences. You're pulling away. I accused one humid night. And he snapped back. I'm holding us together. The fight cooled in tears. Apologies over ice cream with the boys. Recommitting to check-ins. Emily's remission came in August. A roar of relief, beach trip to celebrate. Waves crashing like applause. Fall grounded us anew, back to school rhythms. Alex's conference follow-up yielding grants for the center. My book launched drawing crowds who shared stories mirroring ours. Your words gave me courage, one reader said. And Alex beamed from the sidelines. Our partnership's quiet power evident. Winter circled again. Holidays richer with Emily's health. His dad's presence via Zoom toasts. But personal growth beckoned. Alex eyed grad school for psychology. A master's to deepen impact. While I pondered adjunct teaching. Sharing craft with emerging artists. Doubts dance time. Money. Kids but we vision boarded over wine. Dreams aligning. Spring's renewal mirrored inner shifts. A weekend retreat for queer couples. Workshops on sustaining spark amid chaos. There. Amid strangers' shares. Alex voiced a buried fear. What if fatherhood changes us? Dilutes the fire. Counselors guided. Affirming evolution as enhancement. And homeward. We reignited sensual mornings before dawn chorus. Notes tucked in lunches. Summer swelled with adventures, family camping. Echoes of our early trips. Alex teaching the boys constellations. His once straight rigidity softened to wonder. Yet autumn winds carried whispers of Chanhae a job offer for me in LA. Illustrating for a progressive studio. Tempting with stability. It's across the country. I confessed. Heart torn. Alex paced. Processing. Then smiled soft. We go where growth calls. Together. Decisions deliberated, visits first. Networks built. But the pull westward grew. Winters in saw us listing pros better schools. Fresh starts gone heavy with roots. Spring decided it, acceptance. A leap of faith. Packing the apartment. Ghosts of that first night lingered stormy memories in every corner but excitement bubbled. New chapter. Alex said, kissing me amid boxes. And as movers hauled our life west, the skyline shrank, horizon expanding. LA's sun greeted with promise. Palm shadows dancing. The boys wide-eyed at beaches. Challenges hit traffic snarls. Culture shocks but joys bloomed. Alex remote counseling. New center gig. My studio overlooking canyons. Inspirations endless. Summer in California wove dreams real. Pride parades vibrant. Queer community vast. Fostering a third child on horizon. Fall anchored us. Holidays hybrid Ohio flights, blending families. Through it. Our core held. Weekly bed talks. Revisiting that pivotal night. Gratitude anchoring. Years on. From Brooklyn beds to coastal homes. Alex's climb remained our origin a shake that steadied. Love's enduring quake. The LA sun baked the canyon trails. But the heat couldn't touch the chill in Alex's voice during our first foster placement call. It's a girl. 5 years old trauma from neglect. Needs stability. We prepped months. Home studies and classes stealing nerves. But as social workers arrived with little Mia wide brown eyes wary. Clutching a threadbare reality hit like a wave. She clung to Alex first. His gentle crouch and soft words, hey. Brave one. This is home now, melting her guard just enough for a tentative hug. Nights blurred into vigilance. Nightmares jolting her awake. Screams piercing quiet. Alex rocking her for hours while I brewed tea. Heart aching for her stolen childhoods. We're in deep. He whispered one dawn. Shadows under his eyes. But his resolve shone. The once straight man, now fierce Papa Bear. Mia's integration wove joy with jagged edges. Playdates coaxed giggles. Her drawings chaotic swirls, turning to suns adorning our fridge. But triggers lurked, loud neighbors sparking meltdowns. School enrollment battles over records. Alex dove into advocacy. Joining panels on foster equity. His story fueling fires. I captured it in sketches. Mia's transformation amuse. Book sequel brewing. Summer swelled tentative. Beach days where she buried toes in sand. Fear ebbing with each wave. Yet doubts crept permanency hearings loomed. Her bio families writes a sword overhead. One sweltering August eve. A relative surfaced. Visitation mandated. And Mia regressed. Nights sleepless. What if she leaves? Alex fretted, pacing our deck overlooking twinkling city lights. I pulled him close, affirming, we love through the unknown. The visits passed fraught but healing. Relative bonding over shared blood. Easing paths to adoption. Fall's harvest brought decision, full adoption granted. A courtroom whisper sealing her hours. Celebration spilled backyard picnic with LA queer kin. Mia's name legally etched. Cake smeared on cheeks. Winter holidays amplified magic. Her first snow trip to Big Bear. Wonder in flurries. Alex building forts while I snapped photos. Family whole. But growth's flip side stung, the boys. Now school-aged. Jostled with sibling dynamics. Jealousy flaring in tugs of toys. Family therapy unpacked. Alex mediating with counselors' poise. Lessons in equity sinking deep. Spring bloomed resilient. Mia's kindergarten debut. Her hand in mine. Backpack bouncing. Alex's master's acceptance letter arrived. Online program fitting our chaos. And my teaching gig at a local college ignited. Students' raw talents echoing my youth. Summer adventures deepen bonds. Road trip north to Redwoods. Mia's awe at giants mirroring our awe at her. Yet personal tides shifted. Alex's conference invite renewed. This time with family panel option. We go as us. He declared. And San Francisco embraced. Mia finger painting rainbows. Talks on inclusive parenting drawing tears. Fall grounded routines. Back to school. My syllabus crafting. Alex's thesis outlining resilience arcs. Holidays hybrid again. Ohio embrace warmer. His dad recovering steady. Grandpa Judy's beaming via video. Mia's drawings mailed east. Winter's hush invited reflection. Foster scars fading. But therapy ongoing. Alex voicing imposter pangs anew. Am I enough? He'd ask. And I'd remind of his climb from hidden doubts to open arms. Spring's renewal sparked ambition. Alex pitching a podcast on queer fatherhood. Episodes raw with guest tales. Gaining traction overnight. I guest illustrated covers. Our synergy electric. Mia's ballet recital shown. Her twirl's a metaphor for grace reclaimed. Summer's heat-tested. Podcast tours clashing with my exhibit deadlines. Arguments simmering over divided loads. Balance. Huntweary partners. Resolution came in retreat. Yosemite weekends. Stars blanketing confessions. Recommitting to shared calendars. Fall's palette inspired. Mia's school play. Alex directing youth theater. My classes buzzing with collab projects. As leaves turned. We marked a decade since that bed night quiet dinner. Kids asleep. Toasts to shakes endured. Winter wrapped us tight. Mia's first real Christmas tree tradition. Lights twinkling like hopes fulfilled. Yet life's underbelly growled. A center funding cut threatening Alex's programs. Layoffs looming in my department. United. We strategists chased. Side hustles born emerging leaner. Closer. Spring decided fates. Podcast sponsorships save the day. My tenure track secured. Mia's adoption anniversary picnic overflowed gratitude. Her bear retired to shelf. New dreams stitched. Summer sealed growth. Family cruise to Mexico. Waves lulling worries. Alex's proposal renewal under sunset sails still all in. Eternal yes. Through canyons and coasts. Our world shaken once. Forever steadied expanded. Love's epic unfolding. LA's relentless bloom pushed us into summer's embrace. But the podcast surge brought a whirlwind. Alex hadn't anticipated. Interviews stacking. Sponsors clamoring. His face on queer media billboards overnight. It's surreal. He confessed over tacos at our favorite truck. Mia giggling sauce smeared beside us. Pride swelled in me. But envy nipped subtle. my exhibits praised locally. Yet his voice echoed national. One golden dusk. After a live episode on Coming Out Crossroads, fans mobbed him at the studio. Hugs and tears flowing. "You're changing lives," I said later. Genuine amid the glow. But his humility deflected. "We are. Your art's the soul." Nights. As edits hummed. We'd debrief. His vulnerabilities surfacing fear of commodifying pain. Burnout's whisper. I listened. Sketching his profile by lamplight. Lines capturing the man who'd evolved from closet shadows to spotlight truth. Mia's world expanded too. Sleepovers with school friends. Her chatter-filling car rides with dreams of astronaut adventures. But elementary whispers stung a classmate's "gay dads are weird," echoing playground taunts we dreaded. Alex handled bedtime talks with grace. Books on diverse families open. Affirming. "Love's the only weird if it's hiding." She nodded. Fierce. But the incident rippled. Alex doubling therapy sessions for her resilience toolkit. Fall's academic rush amplified. My college preps with syllabus tweaks. Guest lectures on narrative empathy, drawing diverse crowds. Alex's thesis defense loomed. Nights pouring drafts. Our kitchen table a war zone of highlighters and coffee rings. Support swap ed proofreading his vulnerability chapters. Him beta reading my memoir draft on unspoken crushes. Stress peaked midterms. A blowout over forgotten pickups leaving frost. Thawed by dawn walks. Hands clasped. Apologies honest. Holidays healed. Thanksgiving potluck with Foster alums. Stories circling like gratitude garlands. His dad's flight west first visit to our sun-drenched home unfolded tentative. Canyons hiked slow. Conversations deepening over campfires. You've built something beautiful, he admitted. Eyes on Mia chasing stars. And Alex's throat bobbed. Circle fuller. Winter's chill bit mild. But a flu wave sidelined us. Quarantine days fostering board games and movie marathons. Bonds knit tighter in confinement. Spring's virus echo faded. Vaccines rolling. Parks reopening to picnics and play. Alex graduated virtual. Cap tossed in backyard. My cheers loudest amid cheers. Mia's science fair project solar system model earned ribbons. Her pride infectious. Summer's heat wave tested, podcast tourist. Alex gone weeks. Video calls bridging gaps, but longing acute. Solo parenting honed my edges. Mia's questions probing, when's Papa back? Mrs. Stories. Reunion at JFK was cinematic. Arms enveloping. Jet lag forgotten and home's hum. Fall refreshed, school year 2 for Mia. Advanced reading sparking book club dreams. My tenure review passed. Permanence a weight lifted. Alex's book deal landed memoir on straight to gay, awakening sagent buzzing. Outlines frantic. Collaboration sparked. My illustrations proposed for chapters. Synergy electric. Holidays hummed hybrid. Emily's health steadfast. Toasts to survival shared. Winter invited introspection. Mia's therapy graduation. Her voice steady sharing feelings. Alex's tears proud. Yet creative droughts hit me blank, pages mocking. Alex's revisions looping endless. Retreat to Joshua Tree broke it. Desert silence birthing breakthroughs. Sketches flowing. Words unlocked. Spring's wildflowers mirrored renewal. Book proposal accepted. Joint project greenlit. Mia's birthday Bashunicorn theme. Queer ants doting overflowed joy. Summer adventures called National Parks Loop. RVs rumbling. Lessons in impermanence amid ancient rocks. Challenges evolved. Book deadlines clashing with school plays. Mia's tween stirrings crushes budding. Identity questions budding. Alex guided gentle. Whoever you love. We're here. Fall's foliage east lured a leaf-peeping trip. Ohio roots revisited. His dad now storytelling grandpa tales. As frost nipped. We marked 15 years since the climb vows renewed on Canyon Rim. winds carrying promises. Life's tapestry, woven from shakes and steadied threads, shimmered resilient. The canyon winds howled as if echoing the gales of that long-ago Brooklyn storm. But up here on the rim, with Alex's hand warm in mine, the air felt purified, charged with the certainty of seasons turned. 15 years, half a lifetime since he'd slipped into my bed and upended our worlds, and as we exchanged simple gold bands anew, engraved deeper with shaken and whole. Tears blurred the vast expanse below. Mia, now 10, snapped photos on her tablet, the boys flanking her with goofy grins. Our queer family circle complete under vast skies. To more earthquakes, Alex quipped, voice husky, and laughter rippled, sealing the moment. Descent brought reality's pull, book tours looming for him, gallery circuits for me, Mia's middle school anxieties bubbling. Change is scary, she confided one dusk drive, and Alex's rear-view glance softened. But it's where growth hides. Kiddo. Fall's palette back in LA ignited creativity, leaves absent. But sunsets over Hollywood Hills fueled my palette. Memoir illustrations vivid with emotional depth. Alex's book launch packed a West Hollywood bookstore. Fans queuing for signatures. His Riadinga excerpt on that pivotal night drawing sniffles and nods. You two are legends. A reader gushed post-signing. And our shared glance spoke volumes, legends forged in fire. Yet success's shadow loomed, schedules fracturing family time. Dinners cold from late arrivals. Mia's grades dipped. Tween hormones raging. Slammed doors echoing doubts. Family meetings became ritual, circles on the living room rug. Feelings voiced without judgment. Alex's counselor skills steering us through. We're a pod, he'd say. Flexible but connected. Winter holidays anchored, multi-state hopscotch. Ohio feasts blending traditions. His dad's health wobbles met with grace. Stories now laced with pride. Spring's renewal tested resolve. A gallery scandal accusations of cultural insensitivity in my show hit headlines. Trolls swarming socials. Sleepless nights. Alex my shield. Drafting responses with measured fury. Your heart's pure. Let it show. Public apology tour followed. Panels on ethical art. Emerging wiser. Work refined. Mia's school project on family diversity won acclaim. Her essay, My Dad's, Two Halves of Brave, hitting home. Summer's respite, Hawaii escape. Volcanic shores symbolizing rebirth. Snorkels revealing hidden reefs, mirroring inner depths. Back home. Alex's podcast hiatus sparked sabbatical dreams, Europe backpack. Kids in tow. Logistics loomed. But excitement brewed. Fall decided, 6-month jaunt. Homeschooled via apps. Backpack stuffed with passports. Heathrow fog greeted. London flats cozy. Mia's eyes wide at Tower Bridge. Paris cafes fueled sketches. Alex narrating histories with flair. Boys chasing pigeons. Rome's ruins whispered endurance. Vatican whispers ignored for Colosseum cheers. Greece's islands idle, Santorini sunsets. Family myths woven under stars. Challenges pepper jet lag tantrums. Budget strains but bonds fortified. Inside jokes minted. Winter abroad, Berlin's Christmas markets. Glühwein warming. Queer history walks poignant. Alex's readings in indie shops drew locals. Stories transcending borders. Spring's return stateside re-entry Jared, jet streams fading. Routines reclaiming. Mia's friend drama peaked first heartbreak over a crush. Tears soaking pillows. Alex's late-night talks echoed his own awakenings. Pain carves space for joy. My post-travel exhibit soared. Europe-inspired peace is resonant. Summer settled, foster inquiry renewed. Another child on horizon. Vetting began. Hearts open. Fall's harvest, book 2 for Alex. Sequel on fatherhood frontiers. My graphic novel greenlit. Queer Hero Central. Holidays glowed, Extended kin converging. Toasts to global hearts. Winter's introspection deepened. Mia's therapy check-ins. Growth measured in confidence leaps. Yet creative slumps hit tandem rider's block for him. Dry brushes for me. Joint workshop enrollment. Mindfulness retreats in Sedona. Red Rocks grounding. Inspirations reignited. Spring's wild energy. Adoption matcha boy. 3. Sibling to Mia's dreams. Homecoming chaos. Bottles and bounces. Family expanding. Summer's symphony. Park picnics. Lullabies harmonizing. As vines climbed our trellis. 20 years neared at bed climb a distant thunder. Its echo our thunderous life. The Sedona vortexes swirled red dust around us like whispered secrets. But it was the quiet after the workshop sitting cross-legged on warm stone. Alex's forehead to mine that truly grounded the chaos. We're not just surviving. He murmured, breath sinking with the canyon breeze. We're thriving. Back in LA's hum. The words anchored as foster paperwork piled. Little Theo arrived in June. Chubby fists waving. Eyes curious as Mia's once were. The house erupted diapers and dinosaur toys. Nap schedules clashing with podcast preps, but joy overflowed. Alex's lullabies a nightly ritual. My sketches capturing Theo's gummy grins. Mia mothered instinctively. Reading board books with theatrical flair. While the boys built block forts. Brotherhood blooming. Fall's frenzy. School shuttles multiplied. Alex's book tour east swallowing weekends. Virtual signings a poor substitute. Loneliness nipped during absences. Theo's colic cries my solo serenade. But reunion flights sparked rekindling airport dashes. Embraces fierce. My graphic novel deadlines loomed. Panels pacing late. Caffeine my muse. Mia's middle school elections class rep bid stirred her fire. Speeches on inclusion echoing our ethos. Vote for kindness. She rallied. Win bittersweet with concessions learned. Winter holidays hybrid max. Ohio video feasts. Local solstice circles with queer covens. Theo's first lights awestruck gurgles. Spring sprout. Theo's first steps toward Alex. Arms outstretched. Milestone tears flowing. Yet funding woes resurfaced center budget, slashed again. Alex's programs teetering. Grassroots campaigns launched, GoFundMe surges. Benefit reads packing venues. My novel launch coincided. Illustrations tying queer narratives to foster tales. Proceeds pledged. Success surged. But scrutiny followed trolls dredging Alex's straight past. Headlines sensationalizing. Joint op-eds countered. Vulnerability our weapon. Growth isn't linear. It's human. Summer's salve, Big Sur retreat. Cliffs crashing below. Family yoga mats unrolled. Breaths collective. Challenges compounded. Mia's tween rebellion eye rolls and earbuds. Identity probes deepening. Am I like you too? Or different? Heart to heart stretched. Alex sharing fluidity spectrum. Loves your compass. Theo's attachment therapy navigated separations. My travel for cons testing bonds. Fall fortified. Novel awards trickled. Centers saved by donor wave. Holidays hummed fuller. His dad visiting frail but fervent Theo on knee. Legacies linking. Winter's white. Snowbird escaped to Aspen. Skis and stories. Alex teaching turns with patient grace. Spring's surge. Mia's confirmation pansexual pride pin worn bold. Our cheers unwavering. Theo's vocab exploded. Data hunt melting hearts. Alex's PhD pursuit whispered. Dissertation on queer resilience calling. My adjunct empire grew. Masterclasses booked. Summer's symphony. Music camp for Mia. Surf lessons for boys. Theo's sandbox kingdoms. Yet burnout beckon schedules stacked. Self-care sidelined. Couples therapy reboot. Oceanfront sessions. Boundaries redrawn. Intimacy reclaimed. False focus. PhD app submitted. Novel sequel plotted. Mia's first dance. Alex twirling her formal. My camera clicking memories. Holidays hearth. Kin converging. Toast to Theo's adoption finalized. Papers signed tear-streaked. Winter wrapped wonder. Theo's snowman debut. Family sleds careening. As branches budded. 25 years dawned that nights climb a foundational quake. Aftershocks shaping our seismic love. Blossoms burst along Mulholland like confetti for our silver anniversary. 25 years since Alex's midnight confession had fissured and fused our fates in the canyon overlook we'd chosen for the vow renewal thrummed with echoes of youth. Mia, now 15, officiated with poise beyond years. Her voice steady reciting promises we'd pinned together, in storms and sunrises. We choose each other. The boys, lanky teens, flanked us grinning. Theoate, gap-toothed scattering petals with gleeful abandon. Alex's eyes, still that piercing blue, locked on mine, crinkling at edges wisdom worn. Shaken forever. He whispered, ring sliding home. And the kiss that followed tasted of whiskey rain and endless tomorrows. Descending. City lights winked approval. Our pod intact amid life's relentless current. Summer's swelter amplified ambitions. Alex's PhD acceptance UCLA. Part-time grind kicked off with seminars that lit his fire. Dissertation delving identity arcs. I mentored a queer art collective. Workshops buzzing with raw talents mirroring my early sketches. Mia's high school shadowed. AP loads heavy. Crushes complicating. Her pan flag a badge worn proud. Dating's weird. She vented over gelato. And we listened. Alex sharing his awakenings mess. Normalizing navigation. Theo's elementary escapade soccer star budding brought sidelines cheers. Bruises kissed. The older boys. College-bound whispers. Grappled applications. Dreams diverging. Engineering for one. Film for the other. Our nest stirring. Fall's flux. Campus commutes for Alex. My gallery directorship offer tempting relocation north. Debates danced SF's vibrancy versus LA roots but visits swayed. Hates history calling. Decision delayed till holidays. Thanksgiving tabling. Resolutions post-pie. Winter's wait. A storm literal. Flooding our garage mirroring inner deluges. PhD stresses fraying Alex's patience. Imposter again. He admitted. Papers strewn. And therapy unpacked. My affirmations anchor. Mia's winter formal date, a non-binary sweetheart sparked joy. Photos framed eternal. Spring's pivot, SF move greenlit. House hunt hybrid. Excitement edging anxiety. Packing unearthed relics that Brooklyn sketchbook. Pages yellowed with our ghosts and tears mingled with laughs. New digs in the Castro, rainbow crosswalks. Victorian charm. Kids claiming rooms with posters plastered. Summers settle in, school transfers smoothish. Alex's remote hybrid easing commute. My directorship commute train riding scenic. Foster pause. Focus inward, family bike tours Golden Gate. Theo's whoops echoing. Challenges crested, boys college acceptances bittersweet empty nests looming gap here gaps for one. Deferred dreams for another. Mia's activism ignited, school GSA president. Rallies against book bans. Her fire our pride. Fall fortified, PhD milestones met. Dissertation chapters defended. My exhibits SF debuted. Queer icons lauded. Holidays hearth, cross-country kin. His dad's virtual warmth. Toasts to transits. Winter's whisper, Theo's holiday play. Elf antics stealing shows. Family applause thundering. Spring's symphony, moves dust settled. Roots deepening in fog-kissed hills. Mia's prom glow. Alex's corsage tie. My makeup magic. Theo's science fair volcano erupted cheers. Summer's sojourn, Europe redux. Teens taller. History's richer. Yet echoes of origin persisted. Anniversary eve. Alex recreating that climb slipping into bed post kids lights out. Whispers reigniting. Still shaking my world. He breathed. And an embrace. Time telescopus to present. Fractures to fortitude. As autumn gilded the bay. 30 years beckoned. Our saga from bed's bold leap to life's grand architestament. Love. Once hidden. Now horizon spanning. Humanely heroic.